Okay, so we are back, and welcome to Amopu Talk. And tonight, I have with me live Tokyo Dolo, one of the strongest public health expert in Liberia, and I can call him the rising disaster management expert. We'll talk about that one later on as we go along in the show, but for today, we just want to talk about Liberia. We just want to talk about our country as young people. Where are we now with everything that is going on in our nation, and trying to compare our time growing up and the current Liberia that we see, and see how best we can compare and contrast, and see how best that we can um, be an example or to influence our young people who make us 65% of our population. So tonight, I'm grateful to have you on, and my subscribers, my fans would like to know who you are, and get to know you in details. So once again, welcome to our mobile talk. You are the first guest that I have on the show tonight,
Uh,
and I just want to give you the chance to talk to my subscriber, talk to my people, and talk to the young people like that.
thank
You
you
are
very
off,
much.
you are off camera a
Again,
bit. I'm not seeing your head. You are off camera a bit. You have to take your camera up. Okay.
you see me now?
Yes, yes, yes. You are okay now.
Am I okay?
Yes, you're okay now.
Okay. So, I'm as you rightly said, the topic is Liberia we see. So, I am wearing my Liberia jersey to actually represent the discussion tonight. My name is Takuvio W. Dolo. Uh, who a Bachelor of Art degree in demography with emphasis in anthropology. I also have a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminal justice. I have certificates in monitoring evaluation. I have a diploma also in monitoring evaluation. And I got a certificate recently from India in health in the time of disaster. What are the basic steps? What are the approaches that we need? And I'm an alumni of the Unleash program in Rwanda 2023. I was one of the Unleashers and was part of we were able to I will add the call Be Better Check that was but I'm happy to join this be able to talk about Liberia, see where we are right now, how we can be able to improve. Like in our country, it is widely said that a proverb says you plot the new mat from the old ones. So the retrospecting from where we come from and where we are today and how the generation after us will be able to embrace the Liberia we see is a good thing. And I'm happy to be here and glad to be on your show.
Thank you so much. That was a huge profile, man. From India to Rwanda and to the rest of the world. And so, Liberia, our country, is located on the west coast of Africa. We are a country of approximately 5 million people. And just to give a brief overview, we are located in West Africa, and we have the Atlantic Ocean at our south part of our country, and then on the western part we have the Ivory Coast, and then northern side we have the Guinea, Republic, and then on our eastern, on our western cluster, we have Sierra Leone. So on the east is Ivory Coast. So we are surrounded by the Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea and Sierra Leone, and we are like everyone who comes to our country say we are hospitable people. Um, Tonight specifically, we want to talk about our nation, Liberia. I was born in the '80s, and growing up during that time, there was a different set of upbringing than those who were born in the 2000s. Um, so my first question to you is, how do you see your time growing up in Liberia, and how do you see the current status of Liberia? So we're going to put it into segment, right? The first segment, we're going to be looking at familyhood in terms of family upbringing, in terms of the family structure, the setup. How do you see Liberia during your time in terms of familyhood, and how do you see Liberia right now?
So thank you very much.
It's like it's like Dolo is having some hitches. Camera is okay. He's gone off. Sure he will come back in. Are you back, Dolo?
Yes, I'm back. I'm back.
Uh, yeah, you're back on,
I was
so you can continue from the question.
okay. So before the pre-war experience, there were high moral standards set by our parents. There were low divorce rates. Our parents were more focused on the reality, and they were not being distracted. I can say I remember uh, one day my daddy went out and he came back very late, and his wife said to him, "Welcome home. You came late today. I hope all is well. Can you take a bath? I have food that I prepared for you." I said, "Ah." And when our parents went out, the perception was not that they went out for different things. Our mothers felt that when our fathers went out, they went to fetch for the family. So there were high morals, and our parents were not discussing relationship matters or issue confronting them before us. They would rather go to their room and have these conversations so that they can keep the sanity of the family.
Yeah,
Now, looking at Liberia after the war, and because of inculturation, you know, people have traveled, people have had different experiences in society. Now, bringing those experiences after the war has also affected our culture and tradition. Uh, there were high moral standards before the war, and now
yeah.
there are morals, but they are not at the high standard that it
I
were
step.
before. For
Okay,
instance, we wouldn't have said before our parents any rude or negative voice. We would
exactly.
rather we would rather bow before our parents in respect to them. But unlike now, sometimes because of the inculturation, people say, and because of the inflation of different kinds of rights, so people the standard of moral has dropped, and the standard of moral has dropped. Though we are more Christianized this day, but we are not living the life of Christianity. So that's actually what is play between, especially so because of the incarceration. People travel to the West during the war. People travel to different countries. They experience different kind of life, and coming back, their way of life, the conversation, the way they handle situation, and coming back to our country, and the way they present the country, the way they present the situation, and
So,
it makes
so Dolo, Dolo, let me come in right there, right? You made a very salient point that I want us to build up on. The level of the standard of morals before were very high, and nowadays is very low. I know you said
Mhm.
moderate, but I want to say low because during those days, parents were actual parents and kids
Mhm.
were kids.
Yes.
But nowadays, you see that before during those time, if you impregnate someone's daughter, you will have your parents will have to go with you to sit with that people and talk about that child and bring the
Mhm.
child in their home until that person gave birth. So
Mhm.
parents were parents and kids were kids. But
Yes.
in this dispensation, kids are now parents and doing everything by themselves. So parents and kids are all doing everything together and there is no separation. So maybe you could say more towards that.
And I think, and I started defaulting. The reason is that I agree with you because people will say during the war, parents, some of the children parents passed, so they were self-reared. Now, there are two things that interplay. You against the society. If we, as children after the war, or parents after the war have continued the standard of moral that was laid down by our forefathers, children wouldn't have been children. Our children were going to still be children, and our parents were still going to be parents. Now,
Exactly.
because 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 of the because of the incarceration, as I said, people have dropped their moral. For instance, they say the child has the right. Parents give rights to children. Nowadays, you don't beat children in school. Children carry any style of hair to school. In fact, they even wear trousers of their choice, and we are more concerned about the way the people in the West live as compared
And
to
the
us keeping our moral and
environment,
our culture and tradition.
exactly. And the systems that the West have, we don't have such system in place to track those rights. So
No, we don't.
you in the West, you don't have those rights, and but there's a system in place for you to track those rights and follow up. But here we don't have that system. So we
Excellent.
see that there is a breakdown. Even just to go further into what you said, during our time coming up, the society was the one raising the children up.
Excellent.
Parents will entrust other parents to raise their children. That is when you do something wrong in the outside, other parents will discipline you, and when you go home, your parent will discipline you more. So the
Excellent.
society was the one raising the generation during our time. But
Excellent.
this dispensation, the society instead of raising the children is the society that is breaking the children down. What say you?
Excellent. So you see, prior to the war, pre-war order, like you rightly said, the parents, the society were owning the children. For instance, if we were on the farm and we went to school, and after school, one of our brothers left and went to a neighbor house, and the neighbor said to him, "You supposed to be in school by this time. What are you doing here?" He said, "Oh, I just want to rest." And our neighbor took my brother to the campus before us and before the teacher, whipped him and said, "Go back to class." He went to class and said, "When you go home, leave a complaint to your mother." Now, he didn't lay complaint. We didn't have conversation about that. During the market day, we went to the market with our mother. And she came to the market to our mother and said, "Did your son lay my complaint?" And she said, no. So what did he do? He said, "I whipped him because he left school and came to my house to play." And right there, my mother added the beating in the market, slapped him right
Exactly.
away, and said it was the wrong thing you did. Now,
Exactly.
on the contrary, today, if my son ran to me with a complaint, Papa, Daddy, you see, my friend slapped me, or you see the enter slapped me. I will now go to the, why did you slap my son? Why did you do this? Why did you do this? Even my son abusing you should have come and lay his complaint to me. That's the contrary. Now, why will my son go out without keeping the standard of moral, and I go to back that child to come and tell somebody that is older than them and say, uh, why you didn't come to lay complaint? That's wrong. So we need to bring back the standard, the moral that were laid down by our forefathers, that make
Exactly.
us to be Liberians, that make us to be who we are, that give us that heritage. And if we don't bring them back, I can say for sure that in the next 5, 6, 7 years from now on, our
Miss
history
out
will
on
wear
it.
away.
We'll miss out on
Our
it. Let's
history will
just
wear
put it.
away.
Exactly. So it brings me to our next talking point, right? So during our days growing up, we played. We had the time to play. I don't know if you play marble. I play marble. I play touch. I play horseball. I play boost kitty. I play football. And all those things were things that kept us away from substance abuse, that kept us away from doing the wrong things, that kept us occupied, and we had a time to play. But these days, I don't see the kids. I don't know if they have the time to play enough. I don't know what is termed as play for them because I don't see marble anymore. Even we used to play rubber band game. You have your rubber band, we play, you win your friend rubber band, you go and sell it and get. When I was on ELWA campus, we used to play armor league. You bust your armor, 20 armor, put in the court, we play football. So we had a lot of play that used to occupy our minds and keep us away from substance abuse. Coming to today's generation, you see the issue of substance abuse becoming a major challenge in our communities and in our country. What do you think? What has shifted us from the time we were playing to now focusing on substance abuse instead of enjoying our time as young people?
I want to tie this to technology, the wrongful use of technology. Now,
Exactly.
uh, we give our phone to our children that is below 18. The child has the phone, he has Facebook, he has all of the social media. And the audience that are using social media in Liberia are not educated to the use of the media. Children are sensitive and they copy what they see. For instance, if he sees a person Let's talk about the common one, alcohol. And my uncle always used to say to me, and I asked him, I say, why do you make your face fearful when you are drinking alcohol? He said, it is not good. Don't drink it. If you drink it, you will be like me. I don't want you to drink alcohol. And I was asking why. He said, oh, because alcohol is not a good substance, it's a stimulant, and sometimes if you don't control the use of alcohol, it creates it reduces you to a lot of things. So I said, okay, since it is bad, uncle, why you can stop it? So okay, I will stop it. So certain point in time, he was not drinking alcohol in our presence again. He will go to the shop, take his stuff, come back home, and go to bed. Now, if a child see a person taking in substance and abuse the substance, the child will want to practice because what they see is what they want to practice. They practice what they have seen. They become they
Exactly.
start to yes. Now peer pressure start to take over. So this is one reason why we as parents should start to teach our children confidence. Let them be bold and say, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this. And now all parents are busy. So grandparents are taking care of the children. Some grandparents are busy. The children are left with the teachers, and some of the teachers are busy. So they will not be able to pay key attention to each of these children. Now, we let the children become vulnerable. In our country, in our society right now, how many parents sit with their children in the evening and have conversation?
Good
Because
points.
once you have conversation, you discuss societal issues. So you see, a lot of parents, if you do a survey now, if you do a survey right now, 99.9%,
It's like your internet is having a little glitch. I don't know if you're hearing me or you're still there, but Toto it was making a very good point. Um, Parents, we are not paying more attention to our kids. We don't know what's happening in our lives, and so we leave them to their parents, to their grandparents. Grandparents are not stronger enough to take care of them. Leave them with the teachers, and whatever the teachers say, that's it. Sometimes teachers are so busy, leave them to themselves, and those children go through circular. Okay, Dodo is back, so you could just end up from where you stop, and then I can go on with the next question. Dodo, are you there?
yes. So thank you. And as I was saying, we need to start to have conversation with our children. Need to start to have family time and have and know our children and be able to implant into them the standard, the morals. At those days, you will not pass.
So though what part are we as parents are playing? I can't recall the last time I bought a toy or a play toy for my kid. I can't remember the last time I went and said, okay, this is a toy I want you to play with. I can't remember the last time I bought a Bible or a soccer ball or something to say, play with this, right? During those days, we had those things that we could play with. I play Ganga ball, I play football, everything. Now, those kids don't have the time. We don't buy this for them. And so they go out there to get it from something else to give them the time, right? So, how are we? What role can we play to get back the children to play as children? Are you getting my point?
So we need to go back to a defined parenting system that is of the African culture and tradition. Now, uh, those days during Christmas, we happy we get toy. Parents will give us toy, and parents were not giving children money. They will give us food. We'll go to uncles and aunties' houses. We eat and we go back home happily. Now, the parents of today, like us, are giving too many will to our children and
I
not
agree.
guiding them in the most appropriate manner. For instance,
I agree.
I have a friend who just dropped her son to the school campus and picking up at 6:30, 7 o'clock, brings him home, and he's in his room with his phone, and the phone is open. What he's doing on the phone, you don't know. And one thing I always say is that I always told my son, I have the parental control on my son's phone. He don't download anything. I block all of the apps, and only thing he have to do is he use WhatsApp and use the phone to call. Now he will not get exposed to Facebook because Facebook is a total distraction. Now, if I'm talking to him, I'm talking to him now and providing key information to him to bring him up to a speed that he will see elders and respect elders. He will not see elders sitting down and say, "Your excuse," and pass between them. When we were like that before, we bow before the elders and pass. We don't stand and pass before the elders. So we need to bring back our culture. These
I
things
agree.
that we are doing today are all borrowed culture. They are being
I
borrowed
agree.
and we don't know the use of it. So we don't have the society for we don't have the mind, the mentality for it. So we can borrow something that will damage the society and kill our culture and heritage.
I agree. So I remember, and this, even talking about it right now, I can still feel the pain. I can remember once on my school campus, I insulted one of my classmates, and the person took my complaint to the principal, and the principal told my father, and my father gave me the bigger pepper.
You are in trouble.
Or for our audience watching, the chili pepper, the powder one. So the bigger pepper, I brushed my mouth with it for insulting someone, and I cry, and my mom had to give me ice to put in my mouth
You were
for me.
actually in trouble.
Now, if you look at
Uh,
today, you look at today's population, the people, you watch Facebook Live to rallies, protests, campaigns, and you hear the level of insults that
yes,
are said to older people, to
yes.
people that can be their parent, grandparents, and they do all this only in the name of politics. What say you? What has led us to this point, and why do you think people have such confidence or such a brave face to openly insult people on camera, people who are old enough to be their parents? How did we get here?
So reflect back on the DDR process that took place. The disarmament that took place in Liberia was not properly done. And I will set example on one of the child soldiers who grew throughout the war and today become a representative. In the larger society and in the West, politics is about policy difference. You have a representative in the capital And all he says every day is that he used the fact that don't need to do anything for the country. So we are so used to, like one somebody said to me the other day, Liberia was built on donation. So we like even in the church, somebody was saying in local for the people to pay offering is hard because the Lutheran people carry clothes, they give everything to them because of Christianity. So they felt that going to church was to get clothes, get food, and get all of these things. Now, because of the way we handle ourselves, we carry ourselves. That's the reason. And now, because the people that fought the war and people that their parents were killed before them during the war were not de-traumatized or they did not have a psychologist to be able to talk
But
to them and
but
bring
Dolo,
it
Dolo,
to
just
this
to
side.
make a point, Dolo. The current people who are doing the insults are people that did not see the war, are people that are just born after the war. So so what you started to say maybe okay from the point where you say our national leaders are doing it so they are not setting the bar. But if you come to the
Yes,
side where you say because the decent the DDR program was not done properly, but the current people who are doing the insults, those are people that did not see the war. Those are just people that were born after the war. So how did we get here? Dolo, are you there? So it's like Dolo internet is buffering again. I'm sure he will come back. And once he come back, okay, he's back. Did you get my
so
point, Dolo?
so we can so us fought the war. Those child soldiers and people that experienced the trauma during the war were not the so since 2004 till today it's about past. People who didn't have psychologists to talk to them to be able to bring them to the standard we were before. They started to transfer their aggression to the unborn children. For instance, some of them are 25 years old. So what they told is the negative languages that they learn from the already traumatized fighters that exist among us, and they are still carrying on and they are busy selling their wrong attitudes, and that's the very wrong use of technology and social media. They go to the social media and they argue and use profane languages, but we now need to start to teach our children that these people are doing these things because they are traumatized, and we should not. There's no place for these kind of attitudes in our society. By the time we start to
But
teach them and they start to reject them, and we ourselves start to reject them, then we will have a better society of a strong moral
to a
and
point, bro, to a
peaceful
point to
one.
what you just said, right? I think we also are encouraging these kinds of attitude in terms we are still on the insults, right? Because if you see previous government and the present government, those people saw insulting our national leaders as a path to obtaining government positions. So most of the people who were critical and using insults on the government were those who were brought into government and they occupy bigger position. And even some of them are still using government platforms to ring insults. So has it become normalized now? Are we making normal now that other people think that okay, if people did it in the past and they got rewarded, so right now, why not do it and get rewarded?
So that's the wrong tradition. That's the wrong practice that we are seeing after the war. Now, civil servants themselves don't see themselves as civil servants. They see themselves as party people.
Okay, so the internet in Liberia is not so good, but we are managing. So once he goes off and come back home, we continue from
Yeah,
where.
yeah. So that's the wrong way of using politics in the West and in other parts of the world. People are using technology for innovations. For us, we are abusing technology in Liberia. 99.9% of the people that use Facebook because of the what can I say, that because of the negatives that they see instead of using, people put data on their phone and they just use it to say, oh yes, oh, this man is abusing the government again. I'm happy that he's abusing the government. And everybody will say, oh, because he abused before he continued to abuse, we should appreciate. It is not time that we put our feet to the ground and start to say no to things that matter, and Liberia will be will happen.
Liberia will be better and Liberia will be of the standard that we desire. We have gone 38 minutes into the show already. Today is just a trial version of the show. We are going to have more fascinating conversations to come, and we're going to work on our technology to make sure that everything is okay. But we are grateful that we can do this test conversation tonight. We just have like two more conversations to go, and then we will bid farewell, and then we come back again. So our next conversation, we're still looking at the Liberia you see. We have talked about parenthood, we talk about kids, we talk about the current things that are happening in this dispensation. And let's look at the education side. We are still looking at Liberia that we see. During those days, it was said that even a sixth grader who graduated during those days is better than a high school student these days. I want, from my personal experience, I want to add to say that maybe a sixth grade student during those days is better than a university graduate these days. Why do I say this? Because it's so frustrating, it's so unfortunate, it's so discouraging that someone will say they graduate from a university and that person cannot read and the person cannot write. And the person, even when they are reading, they are counting words. The standard is so low. And if you see other institutions, other schools you go to, you see people are sleeping in the library, people are researching, people are reading. But in our sector, just want grades. People just focus on the grades. They have the grades and they can't defend it. When we have invested so much money into the education sector, why is it that today our education system is so weak? Why is it today that our education system is so weak? It's going down the drain. And what can we do to bring it back up? What can we do to bring it back up? Tolo, are you there?
Yeah, so um, there are three things that runs to my mind when it comes to education. The first one is the home education. The home education is the primary education that all children acquire before going out. Now, in the home, if the father says to the mother, "Good morning, how are you?" And he wakes up in the morning and says, "Good morning, James. Good morning, Paul. How are you? How was the night?" "I'm okay. Thank you." And they use the magic words, "Please, thank you." And when these words are being spoken in the home, the children gets educated to it. And they will always say to their friends, "Thank you," if they render them assistance. They will always say, "Please," if they need an assistance. And they will always appreciate whatever that come their way. That's the first level of education we all need to teach our children. The next is the formal education. The formal education is where we go to classes. Now, going to classes to learn is good, but the quality of those that are teaching the children. For instance, uh, when I was teaching, I had a friend, and he will always go to he used to smoke marijuana. So he will always go to the marijuana shop with the boys. And the older ones that were have it, they all were there, and they take their marijuana and they come to like that. You show the children that you are not teaching them moral, you are not teaching them the standard. So now the formal education we go to is actually not of the standard that our forefathers had. For instance, you mention English grammar, English composition. Now, composition, you are being taught how to write essays. Today, if you ask 99.9% of the graduates from the University of Liberia, not 10% of the students that graduate from the university in Liberia write their own thesis. Now, how will you be able to defend yourself outside if you don't even know the thesis? People graduate from high school, they don't know how to compose sentences. The education system is not up to the standard because government herself is not is not supporting the system. If government were supporting the system, you will see that the system will grow, and you see people of quality will come to the system. And the last kind of education that I want to talk about is the self-education. Self-discipline is one of the best, one of the highest that I've seen since my travel out of that era. People are trained to a lot. People are trained to what they eat. People are trained to what they drink. They are trained to what they say at what time. They are trained to use areas. and they are trained to what to eat. For instance, we went to one training to the embassy and somebody loaded the food in the plate and they could not finish all of the food. And somebody have to tell them, say, go finish it. That's the reason why you took off. You need to train yourself to a lot. Self-training, self-discipline is a fundamental that supporting us, but if around you. You need to self-discipline so that you can be able to be a very good person tomorrow. So these are the
Yep.
three education, the home training, the formal education with the self-education. Self-educations are based on experiences. Self-education are based on the way you see the world. And if we try
So,
to do these things, we have a vibrant society. We have a society full of entrepreneurs. We have a society full of scientists. We have a society full of educators. And we have a society full of high quality of people that will be able to transfer the knowledge from one generation to another. So we need to think about these things, to do these things. We need to work out these things so that we can be
so
able to have a
inspiring.
better Nigeria and we have a better
So,
education system.
so inspiring. So inspiring. I learned something great today. Self education. So, what you said is so inspiring. But one thing I also want to say is that one of the reasons you and I have such great foundation is that during those days, our parents and the school system invested more in primary education. At the primary level, we were taught phonics, we were taught to read, we were taught to pronounce. So today, we're missing out on the primary education. If you don't grab it at that level, when you go forward, it will be very challenging. So I think we need to invest more in primary education from the nursery all the way to sixth grade. We need to invest in that so that when they leave elementary and go to junior high, then they have a strong foundation. But these days, it's just so mind blowing to see that people just can't read. We just can't read. We just can't read. So our last talking point for tonight, we're going like 48 minutes. I'm hoping that we can finish within 1 hour. So health. You have been in the public health space. I have been in the public health space. Um, in the public health space, we don't, the public health is not about individual patient to doctor interaction. It's about the population, it's about population health. And because we deal with population health, people don't see the impact of our work as public health practitioner. They see the direct interaction between they and the doctor give them injection or give them medicine, they get well. So they feel like everything is the doctor. But for us, we do assessment, we develop policies, we provide guidelines, and we give the population assurance. And the very way we can know that we are doing well is by looking at the data, the indicators. If we are reducing maternal mortality, if we are reducing malaria cases, if we are reducing neonatal death, under five death, all those things, once those indicators are reducing, those are supposed to reduce, we are working. Those are we supposed to increase, they are working. If we look at our life expectancy, during those days, life expectancy in Liberia was like 40, 56, now it's at 62. But as much as we are doing much in the public health space, as much as we are um, working towards our targets, How can you compare and contrast the health setting during our days to now? What do you think have been our gains? Where do you think that we are lacking, and how can we work towards that? I know you and I work in the HIV and AIDS meeting target and meeting target and maintaining epidemic control under the HIV program. Um, where are we now in the public health space, and how do you think public health could be a very important aspect of our health sector?
So the first thing is that I would say we are preparing. We are preparing for public health uh, to take over the public health space. Liberia is more into curative than preventive. That is the reason why, like you said previously, that is the reason why the technicians, the public health technicians, the very few public health technicians that are in the efforts had not been seen. And because our learning system, our educational system does not allow us to innovate more. And we ourselves are not innovating more. I include us because we are also part of the public health space. To take Liberia from curative to preventive, the public health technicians to now move to scientific solutions as compared to the regular discussion on malaria outbreak, looking for endemic, pandemic, and the rest of them. We should move from that point to innovations. Now, we are into public health monitoring and evaluation. There are epidemiologists that are emerging. How well are they using the data to do innovations? For instance, there's a huge wave of cold that is taking over the country of recent days. What is that sensing to us? We as public health technicians, what is that sensing to us? What can we say about that? What are the efforts we are exerting to know why this cold is at this point and why is it? Because we don't have the neurologics to be able to determine the weather. We don't have even we depend on other people. So now public health it is not independent as we see it, but it depends on other sectors to function effectively. So we the technicians need to move from the theory to the practical. Now taking the message to the people. The public health promotion people need to now start to say more about prevention of malaria as compared to curing malaria. Now we are celebrating malaria vaccines in our country. Yes, but still we have the drainages being clogged. We still have plastic pollutions. We are now ODF free. We still have open defecations. We still have all of the public health situations that are not preventive. So how can we even arrive at? We don't have. You talk about mortality. How will we have maternal mortality will always exist? And in fact, the worst is that after out of every 100,000, 621 person that need that. Look at the ratio and see in the next 10 years if we don't improve the system to be able to tackle these things. What are the early warning systems that we put in place? What are the standard that we are setting to curtail complications like the public health, maternal health people? What are we doing People who do reproductive, what are we doing in the public health space? We have high level of maternal death. How can we reduce them? It is now time that we use data and push government to be able to prevent and then to kill. Look around us today.
So according to the Abuja Declaration, each country agreed that they're going to spend 15% of their annual budget on health for 12 years. Marcel stay in power the 6 years. President Weah stayed in power. None of them were able to achieve the Abuja Declaration. All of them fell below the 15% benchmark. What do you think? Do you think this is having an impact on the health sector, and why do you think that we are not reaching that 15% benchmark?
The funniest thing on earth that I've seen is Liberia. We signed to too much conventions and we do nothing about the nations that we made. We signed to all of the conventions. Today, if they say we have eating climate free, we want countries to sign Liberia, we sign. We've signed to deforestation without looking. We've signed to a lot of conventions and we don't tailor anything that would be beneficial to our people. Uh, there are situations that you handle. There are situations you handle based on your preparedness. You sign into conventions and say by 2030 or 2050, Liberia will be malaria free. We agree. By 2030, no woman giving birth will die. We agree. What are the policies? What are the standards? What are you doing? So technicians need to dig deeper. It is not about making political proclamation. It is about doing that able to able to resolve the issues. Now, public health technicians in recent time went to China. What did they do? What was their experience? What are the new things they brought back to Liberia? How can we be able to set up a standard for ourselves? What are our labs? What are our labs? We don't have labs. What are our labs? We need to reference Ivory Coast, we reference Ghana with samples to be able to diagnose public health hazards. These are wrong. We don't have the system. We don't have the manpower. So we need to really, really develop the manpower, the skills. Like in other countries, the public health technicians are scientists. They're finding solutions in the lab for everyday situation. Now we have a huge pool right now. Nobody can tell us what is happening because most of the technicians themselves want to sit in the big office. They want to sit in government offices and they don't want to use the innovations to be able to. So now we need to direct all of our strength and our thought to bringing innovations into our work and see how best the technicians can take over and make Liberia a preventive country as compared to a curative country. Now, if we are always on curative side, I tell
We
you,
need
silent killer, hypertensions and all, there are a lot of things that are happening. So we are not yet there. We are in a preparedness stage.
I know we have a lot to discuss. I know we are getting into the juice of this broadcast. We are 1 minute to 1 hour, and I don't want us to leave without talking about your trip to India and the disaster management. So just give us a synopsis of um, what was the trip all about? How can you use the skill acquired to support Liberia, and what is the next step? And then you can do your closing. We have gone 1 hour now, so you can just take the next 3 5 minutes We do all our close, and then we do the final closing.
Thank you. It was quite an amazing time in India. I'm grateful to the National Institute for Disaster Management. We were looking at basically our we were looking at disasters. Liberia affects the signature to the Sunu agreement, and that agreement says that by 2030, most countries should be disaster resilient, and they should reduce the risk of disaster in around the world. Now, we were looking basically at 11 modules, and there are three things that are really captured. The first one is the nature-based solutions to most of this deforestation, climate change, the nature-based solution, where India itself is an experience. They plant trees all around their country. Trees are being planted all around their country. That help them to be able to tackle climate change. And India is a country that experienced almost all of the disasters that take place. They have experienced tsunami, they have experienced earthquake, they have experienced flooding, and they have experienced fire, or lot they have experienced. So, based on the situation and looking at Liberia disaster profile, Liberia is a country that actually face flooding. And the reason why we face flooding is that because of the unplanned urbanization, people building on the waterways, because of pollutions, all the drainages are being clogged by plastic and other elements. So we came back, and India has started a tradition that I really really captured, and we have started that with the Kongota Township. They introduce disaster risk reduction in schools. All of the high schools have their disaster risk club, and we copied that. We started that in two high schools in Congo Town, and we are trying to roll it out to all of the schools in Congo Town to be able to use Congo Town as a case study to fight plastic pollution. And sadly, while we were in India, we were searching for documents. None, none was on the website of the National Disaster Management Laboratory. We don't have no documents. We don't have relief plan. We don't have a tailored disaster plan, and it's like we are not even prepared. And like I was saying, around us, we experience a 7.2 or magnitude of earthquake. And in recent time, 2024, there was also a mudslide that took place in Nima. The earth burst. That was not actually an earthquake, it was an earth burst that took place in 2024. So when we started to map the disaster profile of Liberia, and if care is not taken, by 2050, Liberia will experience the worst disaster in history. So we need to now put in standards. We need to now prepare the minds of our people to be able to prevent the risk for disaster, so that we can be able to be on part. So it was a very good thing. It was a very good learning experience, and I'm happy that I was leading the delegation from Liberia, and we did our part, and we are implementing most of the things that we learned. And we also learned about disasters in health in disaster. During disaster time, health professionals, and India is more of a traditional country, So we learn a lot about disasters, health in disaster, how to be able to manage, how to be able to manage this and the health system. What are the basic things that are needed? What are the tools and technology that people use to be able to be able to save lives during disaster? So it was a very good experience, and we like I was saying to myself, HIV is a disaster, and we need to implement some of these things to be able to save a lot of lives. So going forward, we will also introduce new things into how we handle our recipient of care. What are the reasons why they are not adhering to their medication? They are not adhering to the standard. They are not adhering to basic things. They are not coming for viral load. They are not coming for their medicine. Some of them are missing appointments. Some of them are lost to follow all. Some of them are stopped because also there is not sufficient information being disseminated by the public health promotion people. So people are more in a denial stage, and mixed with being a more Christianized country, people are also mixing public health issues with Christianity, and it's also hampering us as technicians. So we need to push more on education, letting the people know what are the do's and the don'ts about these things, so that we can be able to. I'm happy for the invite. Thank you so much. Overall, we as parents in Liberia, before we as parents in Liberia to bring back the good old days, we need to teach our children home training. We need to teach them the magic words. Please, thank you. We need to also be able to look at our educational system and bring the quality of teachers that will be able to bring the same moral and standard. And we also need to have self-discipline so that our children can copy them after us. And overall, we probably have technicians need to move from, we need to do things so that Liberia can move from preventive to preventive. Thank you so much for hosting me, and I'm happy to be on your show.
Need to do things so that Liberia can improve. It was great having you tonight, and thank you so much for revealing yourself, giving me 1 hour, 7 minutes counting. We said what we could say. I know this is just how do I say? This is just the first interaction. I'm sure that we are going to learn, going to improve on this, and we'll have more better discussions going forward. We can have at least additional panelists who can give their views on Liberia. I really enjoy the interaction. I want us to talk more about Liberia. I'm sure that next time we have some discussion, we can go depth into other aspects of Liberia, where we're going to be talking about the landscape, we're going to be talking about beautiful sceneries that we have, the Vera Eco Lodge, our reefs, the beauty of Liberia. We need to sell our country out there for other people to see. We want to go deep into more statistics, give more accurate records of this. So I appreciate you so much for taking out the time. And I want to say thank you to all those who are following. This is just our first, and we look forward to improving and getting your feedback. And so thank you, and it's good from my end. This is Amopo Talk. We are coming live, and we are here to stay. Thank you so much.